Hello, so Ukulele Bandits, we've got a new song today, House of the Rising Sun. We're going to look at the chords and look at the technique, look at what's involved. We'll make it nice and simple, and then we'll embellish it and make it a little bit more interesting at the same time. So first up we have the chords. These are the chords that are involved above my head, and you can see there you've got A minor, C, which we should know, D, which is maybe a new one for some guys, F, which we should know, and then E7. So if you've done the videos before, you'd be familiar to at least 3 of those chords. D is, there's two different ways that I like playing them, but what we'll do is we'll use this version today, which it might be simple for most people playing the ukulele when they're starting out. And then E7, obviously, which is a new one as well, which would be good to learn. So A minor, let's play that. You can see the chord cam, that's how we hold in A minor. Make sure you've got that nice C shape that we've talked about. Then the C, which we definitely should know that by now, and then the D, which is the 1, 2, 3 fingers. You can see on the chord cam, look at my bottom right, and you will see where I'm placing my fingers there and how I'm getting this first string open. So I like playing a bar chord, but that can be a little bit tricky if you haven't got the strength there and you haven't been playing long. So I think that's a good one to start off if you're not used to the bar yet. There's the D, and then the F chord, which you should know. And then the last chord, which is in the next part of the sequence, is E7, which will be your first finger right up here on the top, second finger, so this would be on the G string, second finger would be down on the C string underneath, and then your third finger would be down here on that A string on the second fret. So follow the diagrams. Obviously, you can slow these videos down, you can pause them, you can go back, go back a few, rewind it a little bit and go back and watch the bits that I'm talking about if you're not quite sure. So as I go through the video, if you feel need to pause and go over what I've just said a few times, absolutely fine, do that. So A minor, then C, then the D chord, and then the F, and then the E7. They're the 5 chords that you need to know for this song, and if you learn those, this song will be fairly straightforward. The other thing in this song, which is really cool, before we look at the actual pattern itself, is, if I move it down, is this thing here, 6/8. Now, we've done a lot of songs before, pop and rock music use a lot of songs that are in 4/4, and what that means is every bar has 4 beats in it, and if we were to strum down strums, we'd be strumming down 4 times per bar. So it'd be something like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you'd change 2, 3, 4. So that would be how you would normally strum in a pop or a rock song that was normally in 4/4, and most songs are. But when they're 6/8, and if you see that 6/8 at the beginning of a piece of music, or it might say it in the corner, the time signature, what it means is there's 6 strums per bar, and they're fairly quick strums. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm not going to go into the theory of it. I'll do this on another YouTube video, maybe on the theory of playing strumming. This is about the song today. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So forget all these numbers, forget all the tablature there, which is basically the notes you're picking on the pattern. Let's just take that first chord sequence, A minor to C, and strum 6 times on each. And this is what you get. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can see there, I'm strumming 6 on the A minor, then 6 on the C. So if we were to take the first sequence, which I'm going to flip to the song here, A minor, you can see that up the top there, A minor, C, D, F, A minor, C, E7, A minor, C, D, F, A minor, E7, A minor, E7. Well, we're just going to take that first part, which goes A minor, C, D, and F. There is a house on New Orleans, and we're going to strum 6 on each of those chords. And then it'll go round again. And I'm trying to hold this obviously up and make sure you can see all my angles here, so that I'm trying to make that a little bit clearer as we go along. So you've got A minor, C, D, and F. The important thing is that you've got 6 strums per chord. Some bits of the song, they'll be a bit longer, and we'll go through it as we go through that first part. And the great thing about this song is this first part here, There Is a House in New Orleans, they call it Rising Sun, and it's been the ruin of many a poor boy, and God I know I'm one, I do. That first verse is the whole song. So if you learn just that first verse and you can play that sequence, then you'll be able to play the whole song because it's just repeated. And that's what's great about this song. It sounds good and it's fairly straightforward once you get a few basic things under your belt. So obviously if you've just got used to A minor, C, G, and the F chords. D may be a little bit tricky to start with, and obviously the E7 a little bit tricky, but you persevere with it, and the way to practice will be 6 slow down strums on each of the chords just to get used to the rhythm, the feel of it. Some songs have the 6/8 feel, so it's a really nice one to learn, because when you come across another song you'll recognize it and you'll know exactly what to do and how to play it. So there you go. So there's the chord sequence. If I go back to this now, we're going to make it a little bit more intricate. We're going to look at playing them as arpeggios. So we're going to pick out those notes. And what I mean by arpeggio is it's an Italian abbreviation for harp-like, which means when you pick out the strings, it almost sounds like a harp. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the A minor chord, and I'm going to pick out the notes that I see. Now 2 is just the top string, so you've got to remember this from obviously other videos that I've put out there. If you haven't seen those, go back through some of the other videos where I explain how to read the tab. It was in the first or second video that I did, and it explains what all these numbers mean, so I don't want to go into too much detail here, but we'll just reiterate. Obviously it's 2 on the 4th string, which is towards your head basically, which is the G string, if you know what that is, and you can use your tuner to gauge that as well. So that basically is where you put your finger for A minor. So when it says 2, it means you're plucking that 2nd fret on, obviously up here on the 4th string, on the G string. Now the idea is that once you've got the chord, all you do is follow the pattern. So I'll be plucking the 4th string, and then it's sort of like 2 quicker notes. That's why they're quite close together, and you can see there's these 2 little black lines at the bottom. It just represents that they're quicker. And then you basically play those the 3rd, 2nd and 1st string as what we call like a rake. You can drag the thumb across, or you can use all your 4 fingers. It doesn't really matter for this at the moment, because everyone uses, like when they start playing, slightly different fingers to start with, and there's no right or wrong really, because all of your fingers and all the different approaches end up needing to be used to actually make the ukulele sound really interesting when you get better at it. So what I would do to start with is either pick your thumb and drag it down for those 3rd, 2nd and 1st strings, or put the thumb on the 4th string and put the 3rd, 2nd and 1st, so you got 1st, 2nd and 3rd finger, sorry, on each of those strings. So I'm getting the thumb, so I'm doing individual fingers there. I'll actually hold it like that so you can see on the bottom right hand corner. I pluck, and then I do that with each 3 fingers. You can do it like that and use all the thumb and the 3 fingers. Or you can use the thumb, which is a lovely, in fact, if you look at a lot of guitarists that play this, they will use their pick, and they would basically be like the thumb, play it down and then drag the pick across. And either or, they both have kind of different sounds, and it's kind of a bit of a preference thing really. I like both, and I may prefer one in one song and different technique in another. So there's no point stumbling and spending ages on one thing if you find it more difficult than the other. It's got to be basically sounding like this. And then you pluck from that 4th string, 4, 3 and 2nd string, which is your G, C and E, separately. So what you should end up with in that first, just looking at the right hand, so you've got the picking the note, dragging the strings, and that's the pattern. Ding, 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 ding. And if you listen to the song, you'll hear it, and it sounds very familiar. If you were doing it with all the fingers, so I'm going to pick those gradually. It's a little bit more complicated, I think, really, for this sort of thing, especially if you're starting out. So maybe just the thumb will be the easiest solution. So A minor, if we approach that pattern on every chord, you've got what's written in the tab. So you can see here A minor, it's the 4th all the way down, then 4, 3, 2, and the same in the next bar, same in the next bar, same in the next bar. So don't worry about the numbers in the lines. If you're confused by that, the only thing you really need to know is the pattern that I just played, and play that on every chord. I'll demonstrate. So we've got, if I put that sequence, in fact let's do the sequence from the song. So it's above me head, and we're looking at that very first sequence. And I know it says House of the Rising Sunday. I got this tab from a chord from a friend of mine, and I quite like calling it House of the Rising Sunday. So I've left it, but it goes A minor. So you're going to hit that first note, and then you pick out the notes like we did, then the C, and then the D, and then the F, then the A minor, then the C, and then the E7. Now on the E7, at the end of every sequence, when you get that E7, because after that E7 it goes back through the same sequence, you do it 2 times. You do it 2 bars, 2 lots, and then you go back through. Then C, then the D, then F, then A minor again, now E7, and then it goes back through the whole sequence again. So that is the song. I mean, it's a great piece of music to learn if you've not done anything like this before with the picking the notes out. Also, it's because it's 6/8, which is technically used in a lot of ballads. So ballad songs that have 6/8 have a really nice feel, this rhythm. So it's quite good to learn, you know, so that you can actually then go on and play other ballads with the same feel. We'll get into that later. The most important thing at the moment is strum the chord sequence first. Make sure you can play 6 on every chord. Make sure you know the chords and you're familiar to them. And then when you feel confident even, then you can actually then start to pick out the notes separately. So basically, A minor, play the pattern that you see. And what you've got to remember is, if I put my cursor over it as I do it, is that's the first note, which is the G string. And then you rake down those 3 strings, and then you follow through by playing these 3 separately. And just that 1 bar there on its own is what's played through all the other chords in the song. And I've put the whole thing down here as a file in case you want to follow this particular sheet, or you can just follow it in the video. But if you just learn that pattern and play that on every chord series, and it's a lovely technique and pattern to actually put in other songs. So if you learn another song that's in 6/8, you could easily use this pattern, and because it'd be in a different key and different chords, it wouldn't sound like How's the Rising Sun. So that's the beauty of that. The tempo I don't think is 120. That's just a standard tempo on the program. The only thing you need to really worry about is learning the chords and then playing it. So I'm just going to run through that sequence, strummed and then picked, and that will get you kicked off with House of the Rising Sun. And as we go further down the line, we'll come back to this and play it in our sessions. So A minor, I'll do the strum first. And then let's do the arpeggio. I'll do it with the thumb just because it's just a little bit easier to demonstrate, I guess. Okay, so that's just a little run through. I try to keep it as simple and not embellish it too much. I know when I was strumming I put a little thing in there, but that's just keep it 6 downstrokes. It's really hard for me not to embellish it too much and have fun with it. But that's what happens when you get used to playing it quite a lot. You end up sort of putting a few other little things in, and yeah, we'll definitely get to that. But that in its basic form is House of the Rising Sun. That would get you started. If you learn this, you can join in with those live sessions when we play these songs as a group, and that'd be awesome. Okay, so take it easy, learn it. Any problems, you can message me, put comments in. If there's anything you hear that you want to add, absolutely do that. That'd be absolutely great. And yeah, follow, subscribe, and we're going to do a lot more. Okay, over and out. Take it easy.